the spot. Welcome to the Monday Night Raw live stream here on Watch Along Wrestling. Hope everyone is doing well. While we're live, we're not actually coming to you guys live. I have this listed as kind of an unlisted listing since I'm still kind of getting used to the streaming here. But if wrestling live streams, wrestling vlogs, wrestling unboxings, and all things wrestling are your thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell so that all the notifications come directly into your inbox and you'll be able to communicate with me, usually live while wrestling is on the air. Today, though, again, kind of on a bit of a delay. Right now, as I come to you, the main event of Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman taking on the team of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the OC, for the Tag Team Championship is ongoing. They're currently on commercial break. But I figured, why not? Let's jump on here, talk to you guys for a bit. It's been a little while since we've done a little bit of a live stream. And when you guys see this, it will be after Raw. So I figured I also reviewed the show so far. I thought the show was pretty good. There are certain things I enjoyed about it. Raw, actually, in my opinion, started really strong. And it was funny because this is also the show that is the King of the Ring. So real quick, if you're looking for King of the Ring quick results, it's what we said. Samoa Joe defeated Cesaro. He advanced to the second round of the King of the Ring. He will take on the winner of the Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre match. And then Cedric Alexander emphatically defeated Sami Zayn. Boy, Sami Zayn right now, I mean, I love the guy, but boy, he is not exactly, he's kind of a red don't buy on his stock in WWE right now because my man was destroyed by Cedric Alexander. Alexander will move on and take on the winner of Baron Corbin and The Miz. Those two matches will happen next week on Raw. So one of the things that was interesting, Raw started out, it was Roman Reigns coming down to the ring. They recapped kind of all the deals that have been going on with him, and tomorrow night, hype that tomorrow is when we're supposed to figure out who attacked Roman Reigns. But at the end of this, I'll let you know who I do think attacked him because I think it became a little obvious, at least to a certain extent here, as they're showing Stone Cold Steve Austin's show coming up here next on USA Network. Roman came out. He was interrupted by Dolph Ziggler, which is funny because the rumor and the deal going on all throughout the entire week was that Dolph Ziggler was done. Dolph put in his, request to leave WWE. WWE said, no, we're going to pay you just to stay home. Didn't grant his release. This was all these different craziness going on the internet. Turns out, seems like none of that was true. And WWE even went out of their way to mention that Dolph, much like other folks on the internet, have been running their mouth recently, alluding to his Twitter comments. So Dolph came out, had a great match with Roman to start the show. Dolph's been killing it, man. This guy he's been selling just fantastic stuff for Goldberg, fantastic stuff for Roman. Roman now with two great matches over the last week on television. On last week's SmackDown against Buddy Murphy, and now tonight against Dolph Ziggler. Roman got the win to start the show. But right now, we are middle of the match here. Main event time. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. Seth still with the bruised ribs, still taped up from the attack, the match, I guess the attack, and then the match with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam as Carl Anderson delivers a stiff spinebuster to Seth Rollins. Braun kind of looking on there. This is Braun's second title match of the night. He actually had a match with AJ Styles for the United States Championship, and it never came to fruition. The OC interfered, and Gallows and Anderson showed up, and that was kind of the end of that whole deal, and that is what gave us this match here. So Rollins came out and came to the aid of Braun Strowman, much like Strowman did last week, and then when everything kind of went from there, that was pretty much that. So there was a DQ, a non-finish, and then they restarted. They made the match here for the tag titles later in the evening. And that's pretty much it. Now, one of the big things about this show, and I'll get to the kind of the more of the results here as things kind of wind down, is Rollins tosses Carl Anderson off the top rope. Back first onto the mat goes Anderson. Anderson charges, but a big kick from Rollins. Blockbuster off the top from Rollins. Lays out Anderson, and Braun Strowman doing all he could to get the crowd in the ring. Pumping up and down, running up and down on the sidelines, going for the big tag from Rollins. Rollins looks like he's about to get it, but Gallows in there, interrupts it, attacks the ribs of Rollins, and now choking him onto the second rope there. So if you guys are deciding to match this up with the main event of Raw, second half of the match is where I'm at. I kind of turned this on. I was going to just do a review. Realized the show wasn't over yet, though. So rather than just sit here, watch the show, and then do the review, I said, screw it. Let's just talk about it as the show happens. Braun kind of stalking AJ, turned his back, and Gallows attacks Braun on the outside, charges him into that, I guess, ring post there on the outside. Is now Gallows getting back into the ring. Really liking the new OC, guys. And I'm not talking about the television show. But Sling Blade there. Rollins takes down Carl Anderson. But yeah, liking the team of Gallows, Anderson, and AJ. I'd be stunned if they lost the titles here, because I think they actually do need the titles. I think it adds legitimacy to kind of what they're doing right now. Gallows now getting Rollins up on his shoulder, but Rollins comes down behind him. Rollins pulls down that top rope. Gallows up and over. Now Rollins off the rope and doing his usual plancha onto the outside. Now Rollins comes across. Suplex. Falcon Arrow, no. Turns into a Falcon Arrow. Was Rollins to Anderson. Anderson kicking out. And this match continues. Interesting show here tonight. Corey Graves is on vacation. I don't know if this is the first time in the history of WWE that they have just came right out and said that an announcer or someone on the show was away on vacation, but good for Graves. He does both shows and maybe just needed a little bit of vacation, so it's cool to see that they granted him one. But in him not being on the show, Jerry Lawler took over to start the show. Lawler did King's Court with Sasha Banks, or at least was planning to, and was attacked and laid out by The Fiend, helped to the back, so it was great to see The Fiend back on the show. I was getting nervous about him as Rollins charges into the corner, but Anderson up and over, takes Rollins. Now Rollins climbing up to the top rope, lands on his feet on the apron, now climbs up to the top rope. But AJ Styles crotches him as Anderson distracts the referee. Now Rollins, he's laid out. Now both Gallows and Anderson double teaming Rollins. Gallows going for the cover. Only a 2 count as Rollins kicks out. So, yeah, interesting stuff. It's a situation where it's basically been so Jerry Lawler was laid out by The Fiend. I was glad to see The Fiend on the show, because to me, I was really worried when we didn't see him last week. I was like, man, are they going to kind of neuter the Fiend character? Thankfully, they didn't do that, though. He's back on the show, and he looked as badass as ever. Gallows Anderson getting Rollins up here, but Rollins kicks Anderson, and now battling back out of Gallows. Gallows laying out Rollins, as does Anderson. Anderson with a big boot to the back of Seth Rollins. Now Anderson tosses Rollins to the outside, and now Gallows now stalking over Rollins on the outside while Anderson is being held back by the official. AJ Styles now takes off his vest, and now he's looking over at Rollins. But, running through him like a battering ram is Strowman. Strowman takes down Styles. Strowman takes down Gallows. Crowd going nuts as Strowman now is stalking along the outside. Rollins looks like he's going for a cover, but Anderson cuts him off. Back body drop over. Rollins lands on his feet. Big dive and tags in Strowman, who runs through Anderson. Runs through Anderson again. Picks up Anderson, throws him into the corner, off the ropes. Big into the corner, big splash in the corner from Strowman. Gallows in, but Strowman ducks a clothesline. Big battering ram knocks down Gallows. Again charges, big splash into the corner of Anderson. Picks up Anderson on his shoulder. Is this going to be new tag champs? Slammed into the center of the ring. AJ comes in, but he's curb stomped. New tag champs! What just happened? What? Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman just won the tag team championship on Raw. What? Very weird. Very, very weird. Double champ Rollins. Seth 2 belts. Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, your tag team champions, defeating Gallows and Anderson. Very weird. Didn't expect this at all. Crowd really into it. Strowman amped up. I mean, Strowman looks like $1 million. He looks like he's so happy that he's on the main event of Raw here and getting a bit of a spotlight. Both guys playing to the crowd. But I really thought they had something with the OC having all the belts. I mean, granted, it was kind of similar thing to what they were doing on SmackDown with the New Day having the belts. But like that kind of takes a little bit of the luster away from Gallows, Anderson, and AJ to have Gallus Anderson lose the belts there. So, wow, was not expecting a title change. That throws off my entire review. Good match, but man, you put all that time into building up Gallus and Anderson, only to have them come out. Great stomp there by Seth on AJ as he was coming in. Crowd leaping. They got some great crowd shots here. Crowd really into this. So clearly I'm off as to what the crowd would want. But yeah, weird, man. Rollins and Strowman now walking away with both belts. So this is now, all right, so now they can try to figure something out where I think Strowman and Rollins, because now we're ahead of Clash of Champions here. So now Rollins and Strowman, which I think was the direction I thought they were going for the title match. And it was reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that it was the direction. Now, who knows? These guys are tag champs. Who knows what this means for the Clash of Champions where all the belts are on the line. Really interesting stuff. Again, you take up that time to build up Gallus Anderson and to really try to legitimize the OC. I'm fumbling over my words. This caught me so off guard, this tag title change. But then you just kind of, in a couple weeks, they already lose the belts. But yeah, Raw's going off the air. Rollins and Strowman looking really pumped. Strowman and Rollins holding hands in the air, super excited, holding up all their belts. And yeah, Rollins 2 belts, I guess. Wow, interesting end of Raw here. Excuse me, this caught me so off guard. Okay, shut up. Oh, wait a second there. Little bit of foreshadowing. So those guys got your Raw Tag Champs, and the last thing you saw on Raw is Rollins and Strowman holding hands. Both the guys holding hands. And basically, you had Rollins holding up the tag belt on the, I guess it was on this side. You had Strowman holding up the tag belt on this side. And then you had Rollins holding up the Universal Championship on this side with his hand connected to Strowman. Strowman holds up his hand, but Rollins is holding up the Universal Championship belt. And just at that minute, Strowman kind of looks over and goes, oh, shit. And that's how Raw goes off the air, with Strowman kind of eyeing that Universal Championship. That was a really cool ending. And you know what? I guess they kind of threw a deal in there where they give the guys the tag belts, and now can these partners coexist with the added tension that the Universal Championship looms over both men? Okay, all right, I'm buying in. All right, let's talk about the rest of the show. Biggest story coming out of WWE all day was this impending announcement that WWE NXT is going to be moving over to USA. It's going to be moving over to 2 hours. My plan was to come on here and talk to you guys about it, but they said nothing about this on Raw. There was no big announcement. There was no Triple H, no Vince McMahon, no NXT roster, none of it. Nothing happened on Raw. So because nothing happened and because nothing's come out of WWE right now, I'm not going to talk about it. I won't give my thoughts on it until the official announcement comes out. The rumor announcement is that this was going to be starting in September. I think the rumor was September 20. I'm sorry, I think it was actually September 18th. Yes, September 18th. The idea of them getting a 2-week jump on AEW and going head-to-head with them on USA. But nothing was discussed on Raw, so I'm not going to get into the specifics. Not going to get into my thoughts on this because nothing really happened. Again, let's just give you guys quick results here on Monday Night Raw. And I'm sorry we're not live. It would be great to talk to you guys here and to have that live reaction with you. But let me know what you thought about this in the comment section. Okay, so quick results. So Roman Reigns defeating Dolph Ziggler. Great match. Go anyway to check that out. Then you had Ricochet and The Miz defeating Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. Kind of a setup tag match for next week's 2 King of the Ring first round matches. Then after that, you had Braun Strowman defeating AJ Styles by DQ. We talked about that. Nothing 2-minute U.S. Championship match that would set up the tag title match we just watched the end of. King of the Ring first round match. Aforementioned Samoa Joe defeats Cesaro. Then they did a deal where Xavier Woods and Big E defeating the Revival by DQ. Revival really seems like they're kind of going into a deal here with Orton. I'm thinking that we're going to get, with almost without question, in my opinion, you're going to get all the New Day versus the Revival and Randy Orton for all 3 belts at Clash of Champions. I think that's the way they're going. And then you can kind of extend Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston all the way through Hell in a Cell, which really, that's a feud that's been going on for 11 years. I think it could use Hell in a Cell, so I have no problem with that. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeating Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in a non-title match, so completely buries Mandy and Sonya. Check them out on YouTube. The Mandy's Donuts, really good stuff. The Mandy's Donuts, good, great little show. King of the Ring opening contest again, opening round. Cedric Alexander defeating Sami Zayn, and that was it. Main event: Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman defeating the Gallows Anderson for the titles. Other stories coming out of this show: we mentioned the Fiend showed up, destroyed Jerry Lawler. And also Rey Mysterio teased retirement, but Dominic showed up on the show and pleaded with him not to, saying that he needed his father there. Kind of they teased that potentially it will be Rey and Dominic Mysterio teaming together, the Forces Mysterio coming together in a tag team contest, and you figured that was where they were going with this. I am waiting for Dominic to lay out Rey. I think it's only a matter of time. This guy has so many reasons to be angry at Rey Mysterio. He put the custody of this kid up on a ladder match at SummerSlam 2005. He's involved him in tons of storylines. Dominic Mysterio's got to turn on Rey, and he comes across as such a sweet, innocent kid that when it happens, I think it could be really well done. Then again, I'm still kind of hoping that Dominic keeps a coquina clutch. But either way, I'll be pleased. It's cool to see Dominic involved in the storylines. So that's it. That's it for Raw. Good show. Really fun. Glad I jumped on here with you guys. A shame I didn't go live. Again, I'm utilizing the StreamYard app. It's like my first time kind of doing this here. But my plan is to do this at most weeks when I can, at least for the final hour of Raw, and do these live streams. But hopefully you guys enjoyed my review. Let me know what you thought about Raw in the comment section below. I hope that you enjoyed the show. I thought that the show was pretty good. So hopefully you did too. And I'll see you guys in the next video.